Hey guys, welcome back to the Network Podcast, and today we're coming back in with another fire interview. You guys know I love doing entrepreneur interviews and definitely highlighting people that's doing great things out here. So shout out to Catherine, and she'll be pulling up to the studio very shortly to talk with Stack, talk with you guys about, some new updates and what she has going on. Catherine, I'll see you soon.
I just can't remember who to send it to. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? You gotta help me make a stand. You just got to see me through another day.
Shout out to everyone that's listening to the show live. We are streaming on all platforms. I appreciate you guys. Also have a special guest for you guys, Catherine. She's pulling up. Y'all know what happens on these entrepreneur interviews. Y'all know how much we dive in and how many people come up here and how much energy we pour into this. And today I got no other than Catherine coming in, and it's going to be another entrepreneur great interview. I think Catherine actually just stepped into the studio. Catherine, welcome to the Network Podcast. Can you please introduce yourself to my audience? Over to you.
Hey, thank you, Stack. It's really exciting to be here. Yes, I'm Catherine with a C from Connecticut. Palmer is my birth name, and Paton, Patln, my last name.
We appreciate you. What do you do? Let's get right into this. What do you do, Catherine? Let's get into this for the audience.
Yes, well, I'm from the northwest corner of Connecticut. It's only an hour from where Yale is and an hour from Vassar, and that's where I went to college. It's a co-ed school. It was a women's college. But back in the 1980s, I went there, and I had lived down near Yale, though, and had a lot of friends who went there, so I understood college is more than just a building you go to. There are families that, teach, and a whole city outside that there should be connection to. And I'm happy to say I know Vassar has about 100 different ways they're connecting with the city of Poughkeepsie and other places now, which was not the case back then. But I was studying to be a teacher, work with people of all ages, really, in terms of connecting and learning together. And I do a lot of elder care in these last many years, the last 15 or so especially.
We love that.
Unfortunately, and it's helpful for myself too. AARP has a few good points, and we've got the internet now. But apparently, even Suzanne O'Brien, who wrote the book *The Good Death*, and I trained with her to be a doula for end of life. Even though I'd learned about a support person, a doula, DOULA, usually was for birth doulas. And I did have children, and I had support midwives and all that good stuff. So I learned about it from her, that she was a nurse, and realized in the early 2000s, which is about when my parents unfortunately were in their 80s, and they did pass rather peacefully. But she said a lot of people were just dying in the hospitals or in places without much support. So she traveled around the world and realized they do it differently. They do death a little more in community. And so I was really grateful to be able to learn from her directly as she was doing outreach. And so now I've got those nice footsteps to follow.
I love that. So let's get into it. We got Catherine on the show. We appreciate you. Now, what separates a dreamer from a doer? Let's get into it, Catherine.
Yeah. Well, I did dream of coming back to my community and being a teacher, and I lived near a nature center and was able to help out a lot there and work at a private school, substitute in the public schools. But I did homeschool my own kids because I did live in a beautiful area, and we were part of a folk music family, the Patons, Caroline and Sandy Paton were my in-laws, and they just loved to go to one folk festival after the next, and there's one coming up in Boston. called NEFA. And so I thought, wow, if all these people can get together and have fun singing, I'm sure we could learn a few other things. And I'm going to New Life Expo in New York City, where I've gone maybe 5 other times, and there's 60 to 100 people presenting. And it's really a family effort. Feels like an extended family for 20 years. Mark Becker's been doing that, so shout out to him. And really invite everybody who can come to enjoy it, because it is an annual thing you can plan on, either New York or Florida. He's got the bases covered.
I love that. Thank you, Catherine. Now, how do you stay disciplined when motivation disappears? Let's get into that.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a luxury to not have to show up for people, because as a parent, caregiver type person, if I get time to myself, I might want to relax. But then somebody needs me. And unfortunately, about 15 years ago, even more like 17 coming up in June, my own teen son passed away in a way that was very strange, where kind of like a Huckleberry Finn out in nature with his friends, but the river was strong and 2 or 3 of his friends were in deep trouble. Not necessarily the deepest water, but strong at the base of a waterfall. And suddenly, even though he had jumped in and out, it was too much. And he was trying to tell them, don't go in, it's too strong. So all in the turn of like 10 or 15 minutes, he was faced with trying to rescue his friends, and he managed to get 2 out. And then he went into the very dangerous water and gave another friend a push. And we'll only know, if that was the instrumental thing to help this boy. But he had to cling for life. His friend did. But that took my son under the waterfall. And so that changed my life and many people around here. And thankfully, his friend was rescued by somebody who got the call. All the volunteers, you can't thank them enough, or the trained people who showed up too, the police and any medical people when we need them. So we are all really important around my area, because you have to try to prevent the problems, and then you still have to deal with reality. So it's a luxury. If I get bored, I'm like, yay, I'm bored, or okay, I have a problem, like I have to get going again, but somebody will need me momentarily if I look around. And usually just the little things, make a big difference, which I didn't always appreciate. It doesn't have to be life and death. It doesn't have to be, the biggest show. I did usher for many years at some of the theaters in the area, about 20 or 30 years. And sometimes there was another need aside from the ushering, but now everything is getting so regulated, you really can't necessarily just help or even talk and get to know people outside of, your official role. You have to be very careful. And it's tricky when it's a small community, because we are, growing up together, and you want to know your neighbors. So I don't know if I went too far afield.
No. We love Catherine on the show. Catherine, I'm going into the next one. Now, is consistency more important than talent? Let's get into that, Catherine.
Well, let's see here. I think consistency is really wonderful. I've needed it as a writer from back in the day. I was listening to a podcast or a talk on C-SPAN, which I hardly ever listen to, but Alice McDermott said she just happened to be a writer and didn't know it until somebody said, you are a writer. And everything she said, I'm like, that's how I felt. Oh, that's how I felt. But she says, oh boy, do we beat ourselves up and struggle. So it's not that the words will come easily, especially if you're trying to do academic writing versus, she was doing a lot of plays, and I thought that was fun. She went, I think, to either a women's college, or women's program for some of her schooling. So writing like a 10-minute play, I've tried to do that. And, I did that because sometimes a vision just comes to me. It's like I'm trying to catch it out of the air. And I've written songs, stories. My kids would say, tell us a story out of your mouth, Mom. We don't want you to read a book. Fresh from your mouth. I'm like, okay, that's supposed to be connected to my brain. Let's see what's cooking. And so I did write one story called The Jewel Story. Maybe we'll work on that. But it's that old. It's like 30 years old or something. This story that needs to be worth more than I have recorded it a little, but I need to share it with the world.
Of course.
It's kind of about well, we're all special. We're all part of a magical jewel that broke apart kind of energy is the underlying message, even though it's kind of a playful story about animals and them finding a jewel and it breaks apart and yet somehow comes back together again.
Now, if you guys are just now joining, I got Catherine in here, and she's going all the way in for me today. I have more questions for her. So, Catherine, let's get back into this. What's something that you wish you would have known before you started this whole journey? Over to you. Let's continue.
I wish I would have known some of my people could only be with me a certain length of the journey, and I had to find new friends. And I will credit, like Jehovah's Witnesses were telling me, we're all friendly around the world. It doesn't matter, black, white, Spanish, Russian, if they've been Jewish or whoever. Like, we're not worrying about our culture. And yes, we can intermarry. You are supposed to be a certain age, and to all the faithful people, I'd say, please wait till you're 21 and up to get married, if at all possible. Life keeps lifing and happening, and give yourself time. And, I offer advice freely without being asked. Absolutely. Because you need to know things before you really need to know things. So and I wish people had told me, some practical things, basic positive living or how to camp out in a warm climate if you don't have a house. But I've done my little bit of traveling, so it's always fun to think of going on a camping trip and, make it a bit of a nice, even planned situation. Don't, push till the last minute to find a camp spot or, know a few people. Keep those networks growing. Back in the day, we had to have phone numbers and addresses. That was it. There were no emails. And hopefully you knew a friend or two who you could call back if you lost the paper. It's like, okay, who was that person you told me about? It makes a nice difference. And the national parks, if we still have them. But, America does belong to you and me, like Maestro Guthrie said. Woody.
Oh my God. Thank you for that, Catherine. Now, my next one, Catherine's going all the way in. I love the way she's answering these questions. Now, Catherine, how do you handle self-doubt? This is my last one for you. How do you handle self-doubt on this journey? Let's get to it.
Well, I look to my Clubhouse friends now, my faith friends. I've gone to about 10 different nice faith groups, and many right here on Clubhouse, which I have to say, it's the best kept secret. And I know we're not on clubhouse.com or the app. I do have 2 houses there, Catherine's house, and safety plans can save lives. Watch kids, watch elders, watch yourself. And I've said enough that I have to kind of go back and take my own good advice, which has, again, come from about 20 different trainings, from being a soccer coach and a dance person, being a bit of a bus driver for a van of kids, and all sorts of, surprises. This is what I'm called to do. And driving's not the easiest thing. I learned on I-95 in a 63 Chevy when in the 1980s. So people kind of gave me room. But the confidence that, okay, if I have the skills and picture doing things well, like that things will come out well, and you can kind of always pull over on the side of the road or break things up in terms of it's a big task, let's work for a half an hour. And that's a lot of permaculture that says the whole earth is beneath our feet. Good elements are coming our way, usually sunshine, daytime, rain time, capture that water. So I'm not as overwhelmed as I used to be. It would have been nice to have that confidence back then. But I usually had a lot of people. And like I said, my college was tremendous. And we had campouts. And I would welcome people. I ran the campouts eventually because nobody wanted that job. I'm like, guys, this is the best part of school. So, just kind of go outside, have some fun, and look at nature.
Catherine came through and killed that interview. Her first time coming on the network. We appreciate you, Catherine, and we will see you
so much.
Next time. It's all love. This is a person I met on Clubhouse, and she came right up to the network. Easy to make connections, easy to build friendships. Catherine, we love you, we appreciate you, and keep shining on your journey. We're out.
Thank you.